Hey folks, welcome back to Coco Rare Coins and Currency. As always, hope you're doing absolutely fantastic. So today's video, the 6 things that you need to know about junk silver before you buy it, how to price it, what in the world does junk silver even mean, and should you consider adding it to your gold or silver stack. But first, let's talk about a definition. Why do people call it junk silver? The reason is these coins do not contain any particular value in the numismatic community. So, what I mean by that, your common coin collector is not interested in a 1952 George Washington quarter that's in fine 12 condition. He's just not interested in it. It's really not worth anything beyond the silver content. But from a coin collector standpoint, this is basically common pocket change. They're not interested in it. So that's why they call it junk silver. Some people call it constitutional silver. The reason it's called constitutional silver is the U.S. Constitution actually gives the U.S. Mint the power and the authority to mint coins of silver and gold. So some folks call this constitutional silver. A very common term is 90% silver, and that's an accurate term. These coins contain 90% silver and 10% copper. So in these cases, these coins contain the actual silver content of these coins far exceeds the face value of these coins. All right, so let's take a look at some actual pictures and a definition of exactly what is junk silver. All right, so the first is going to be your 1964 Kennedy half dollar, and only your 1964 Kennedy half dollars. Kennedy halves minted after this date contained 40% silver, and then after that they contained clad coinage, which is really not worth anything. So for 90% junk silver, we're talking your Kennedy half dollars in 1964 only. All right, so prior to that, you had your Franklin half dollar. All of your Franklin half dollars are 90% U.S. Junk silver coins. They were minted from 1948 until 1963. Your Walking Liberty half dollars, minted from 1916 until 1947. Those are all 90% silver coins. Your quarters, your Washington quarters, 1932 to 1964, those are 90% silver. Your Standing Liberty quarters, which were minted 1916 to 1930, those are also 90% U.S. silver coins. Your Roosevelt dimes, minted 1946 to 1964, 90% silver. Mercury dimes, 1916 to 1945, 90% silver. So, folks, please keep in mind the date 1964. It became a common theme. 1964 is the last year that the U.S. Mint produced these types of coins containing 90% silver. All right, so what is not junk silver? Well, let's discuss that. There are a lot of 90% silver coins out there that are not considered to be junk silver, and that's because they do have numismatic value. All right, so for example, your Morgan dollars and your peace dollars are generally not considered junk silver. That's because to the coin collecting community, the numismatic value of that coin exceeds the value of its silver content. Your barber coinage, so your barber coinage was made in halves, quarters, and dimes from 1892 until 1915, 1916, depending on the denomination. Barber coinage is generally not considered junk silver. Again, it has a numismatic value that exceeds its silver content. And then when we go, of course, we're going way back now to your seated Liberty coinage, which was produced 1837 to 1839, depending on denomination, and it ended in 1891, halves, quarters, and dimes. These are also all 90% silver, but these coins also have a numismatic value that far exceeds their silver content. All right, so now that we've figured out a definition of what coin is considered to be junk silver and which is not, how in the world do we put a value on these coins? All right, folks, at this point, you're going to have to get ready for a little bit of math. And here we go. So the actual silver content of these coins is considered to be 0.715 ounces per face value. All right, so your half dollars contain 0.3575 ounces of silver, quarters 0.1788 ounces of silver, and dimes 0.7015 ounces of silver. Are you still with me? I know it's math. We hate math, but I'm going to wrap this all up and make it super easy for you to figure out what are you actually paying for this stuff right here. All right, so important thing I ought to mention, silver, junk silver is considered 0.715 ounces per face. We all know that when these coins left the mint, they contained 0.723 ounces of silver. But these coins are old, they're worn, all right? So therefore, junk silver is generally considered to mean 0.715 ounces of face. All right, so how is this stuff sold? It's sold in dollars per face. So here's what that means. If I call my coin dealer, say, hey, I'm looking to buy some Washington quarters, junk silver, what are you selling them for? And he tells me he's selling them for 30 times face. What in the world does that mean? Well, let's do a little bit of math right here. So if we take 25 cents, that is the value, that is the face value of that coin, times 30. Remember, he's selling it for 30 times face. That means he's selling it for $7.50 per coin. The Washington quarter contains 0.1788 ounces, and by paying $7.50 each, you're actually paying, here's the math, $7.50 per coin divided by 0.1788 ounces of silver, you're paying $41.95 per ounce. So right now, that might sound like a crazy number to you, but right now silver's trading about $25 an ounce. There's been a huge demand for it, and the premium on junk silver right now is through the roof. I mean, it's almost at the premium level of American Silver Eagle coins. So right now, junk silver is super expensive, but this is the math. All right, so dollars per face, easy calculation. I'm gonna make it simple for you. All you do is you take the dollars times face that you're quoted, you divide it by 0.715, and that gives you $1 per ounce. So this chart I'm showing you right here, whatever the guy quotes you, 20 times face, that's going to be $27.96 per ounce. All right. Feel free to pause the video right here and screenshot this. That's what you're actually paying per ounce of silver. All right. The next slide I want to show you is the content per roll. Okay. So your Franklin half dollars, these coins are sold in, if you buy a roll of these, your half dollars, Kennedy dollars, 20 coins per roll, $10 per face. The silver content of a roll of half dollars is 7.15 ounces. A roll of quarters contains 40 coins, also $10 face, therefore also contains 7.15 ounces of silver. One roll of dimes is 50 coins. It's $5 per face, and it contains $3.575 ounces of silver. Some dealers charge a premium for half dollars, and at the same time, they'll discount dimes. Others treat it all equally. They view junk silver as junk silver. All right, so number five on the list, and we get asked this all the time. People talk about melt value. I thought it was illegal to destroy U.S. currency. Is it actually legal to melt this stuff? Believe it or not, the answer is yes. All right, so the reason it's illegal to destroy U.S. currency is they don't want you to be able to affect the money supply in common circulation. So here's what I mean by that. Technically, if you were to go to your bank right now and say, "Hey, give me a couple stacks of $1 bills, give me a couple $100 bills," and you were to go outside with this currency and you were to burn it, that is illegal because you are, by definition, taking money out of the money supply. Okay. The reason it's not illegal to melt junk silver coins is because, generally speaking, these coins are not in circulation. You are virtually never going to go down to Food Lion, buy some groceries and get a silver quarter back in your change. I'm not saying it's impossible, but the odds of that happening is probably like 1,000 to 1. So this is not generally circulating currency. You're not going to find it in general circulation. So therefore, yes, it is legal to melt 1964 and prior coins because they're not in general circulation and you're not affecting the money supply that's available. All right, so final, number 6. Couple things come to mind when people ask me, should I buy this? Should I add it to my stack? All right, so the number one thing that comes to mind is junk silver is no longer being produced by definition. It's no longer being produced. All right. Some of the older folks in the business still remember a guy telling me, he told me back in the late 80s, there was so little demand for silver at all, and especially junk silver. He personally remembers filling 55-gallon drums with junk silver coins and hauling them down to the local smelter and having it melted. I mean, this guy was melting the silver coins by the barrel. And I'm sure that wasn't an isolated incident. I'm sure it happened all over the place. So your junk silver coins, limited production. They're not making any more, folks. Okay. So eventually that might mean that your Washington, 1964 and prior quarters, eventually, once enough of these things get melted, it might mean that they now go into that next tier, which means they're not going to be junk silver anymore. They have a numismatic value because there's just not many of them left. Okay, so keep in mind we're talking about a limited production, product. They're not making anymore. All right. The other thing to keep in mind about your 90% junk silver is some people like the historical quality of it. Okay, so yes, we all know that you can go down right now and buy a 1 ounce silver round. You can go down and buy some 10 ounce silver bars and stuff. I mean, there's nothing fancy about this. You can buy 10 ounce silver rounds. Okay, there's nothing fancy about this. It's commonly produced silver, but some people like the idea of the historical twist. Okay, so you pick up a roll of Washington quarters 1964 and prior. I mean, there's a little bit of history of those coins somewhere. Okay, it's kind of fun to think about. This 10 ounce silver bar doesn't have any history. Just bought it from Amex. Okay, all right. So that is the top 6 things that you need to know about junk silver, constitutional silver. Call it what you will. If you got something from the video, which I hope you did, please click the like and subscribe button down below. It really helps me out. All right, folks, Coco signing out. We'll talk to you soon. All right, bye. Bye-bye.